So hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and in today's video we are going to learn about what is the REST and how we can create a REST API in the Python and mainly in FLASK. So let's understand what is the REST, what the REST stands for, and then we can write some code in Python mainly in FLASK, and then create a server, and then we can write some code to get and post all the things, and then we can do the API part. So first let's understand what is the REST and what is the API meaning. So REST stands for representational state transfer, which means when a client machine places a request to obtain some information about resources from a server. So this is the kind of transfer the data from database to client, and the gateway is, you can say, this is the API. So you have your client, means the client is user, and there will be another thing that is called database, and there in between there will be a you can say there will be a thing that will communicate between these two, user and database. That will be a kind of REST API. So REST stands for representational state transfer. You can understand, like we have. So if I go to the pictorial representation, so there will be a, you can understand, you like you have a client. So let's say there is a user, this is client, okay. So this client, and there is a database where some information is stored in this database. So, and let's say one user, you can assume like you are the user. So you want to obtain the data from this database, and how we can get in the how and in which format. That will be the, there should be a gateway, so that you can communicate with your database to user, right? So this is the one of the gateways REST API, where you put some request. So it request is in four format. The first one is get, then the another format is post, another is put, and then delete. So four format is there in REST API, and you get some information from database to user level. So in between, so if I draw a pictorial representation, so there is a user requested, and there is a called certain thing here. You can say there is a certain thing. Let's understand this is things. This is, we are calling, this is a REST. Okay, this is REST API, where you are communicating with REST. Client is requesting on REST API, and the REST API fetching data from database and then returning to REST, and then REST returning to client. So what the client do? Client either post request and request in the format of either get. So it can be get request client, it can be post request, and it can be put, and it can be read, and every request has their own meaning. So get request means you are asking for some data, you are asking for some data. Post, you are adding some data. Put, you are some updating data. Delete, you are deleting some data on the server. So every request has their own meaning and own kind of set of things, and you do these things to REST API, and then REST go to the database and fetch the data in the format of either, it can be format in the JSON, XML, and another format, you can say etc, and it fetches you to result. So what basically here phenomena is, like user requested. Let's say user put the get request to API. So here REST API will receive the get request, and it will go to the database and say like, hey, which user one, let's say user is Gyan, user Gyan has requested some get request, and get requested, you specify some URL or path. So let's say I get requested, I list countries. So I requested get me the country's name. So what will do the path, that will be slash and countries. So REST will understand your method, because you have given the get request, and get is a parameter. So REST will apply to the ask for database, hey, can you please give the country's name, because we have to give the that information to user Gyan. So it will fetch data from all the countries data that is stored in the database, and it will return the user list in either format of JSON or XML. okay, then it will return to user. So user will receive like a JSON format. So you have countries and countries into the countries name. So it is a basic thing where the uh, rest communicate between user and the database. Okay, so as you can see in this whole scenario, you have seen the client is just your PC, or you can say you can request data from database server through communication over the REST API. So client is anywhere. It can be your PC, it can be your mobile phones, it can be your tablets. So these are the clients. Okay, and database is there multiple database can be in the format of CSV. It can be format it can be stored in the cloud, or it can be on the different databases there. If you go in the database detail, you will find like there is a certain SQL database, no SQL database, any database that is you're fetching. So REST API communicating between user to client to database, and the it will communicate only four method. The first one is get. What is the get stands for? As I said before, get used by the client to select or retrieve data from database. Okay, or database, or you can say database is connected to server, and so it requests to the server. So get that details from the server, and it will fetch you into a client level. What is post? Post is used by the client to send or write the data to the server. So you are writing data to the server to your local machine, or you can say to your code, and it will write the changes of piece, the code you have done in that post request. It will store in the database, or you can say you are communicating through REST API, that is server, and it will eventually eventually change the database. The another thing is put used by client to update existing or data on the server, or you can database. So there is let's say you have a countries list, as in the scenario I have get a request, and there are 23 countries. Okay, so you want to add some countries name in that list, then you can do some put request. And if you know you can delete some countries name, like in you are running an e-commerce website, and you want like you do not want to sell the things in, let's say, country A, then you can then delete in the from the country list. So this is a whole thing is called a REST API. And so let's close this video here, and we will then proceed with how to in second video I will make another video. In that video I will go to the basically Python, and will import the library called FLASK, and will simple a API through FLASK to how to create that API. Okay, so let's wind up this session, and thank you for joining this call, and sorry, joining for this YouTube video. If you like this video, please like the button and subscribe. Thank you for your time.